I obviously, and I've explained this, or at least we did in a statement, that I went on vacation with my wife, with some friends. I was incredibly lucky. You have to be to end up ahead, frankly, going to a casino anywhere. It was in Las Vegas, and I like to play cards, and so that I founded a charitable poker match here in Chicago called the Chicago Poker Challenge that has raised millions of dollars for the Holocaust Museum here. And particularly to stand up for civil rights. That's much of what the Holocaust Museum does. And so, anyway, that's all I can say about it. I mean, I had fun doing it. I encourage people to come to the state of Illinois and gamble in our casinos here. We have some really lovely places to go. Well, you saw that the President of the United States threatened to jail me. He's threatened in the past to jail the governor of California and the mayor of Chicago. So do I think he could carry it that far? Well, he says he would. Yeah, this is a struggle around the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, which protects states' rights. It's also a struggle, in my view, about protecting the military. The reputation of the military in this country is very, very good. And, there were years in the past when it wasn't. But it's very good. People have enormous respect and admiration for those who are part of our military forces. What the president is now doing has the potential to significantly erode that faith that the American public has. And I think you've heard, the idea that readiness, the idea that our national security is at risk as a result of the American public losing faith is of great concern to people who've spent their lives, or much of their lives, leading military troops or serving in the military. So I, too, have that same concern. And, of course, I'm focused right now on Illinois' National Guard and other National Guard that are being sent here, but I know many members of the Illinois National Guard. They did not ask to be called up for this sort of service, to have to stand against their fellow Illinoisans in some fashion, and maybe even be given an unlawful order that they're not sure whether to act upon because they're not judges or lawyers. They're trained for military service and, of course, to help rescue people in emergencies and not to do this kind of service.
Governor, on your income, are you concerned that AOC or another potential rival in a presidential primary could use the capital gains, the gambling winnings against you as sort of fodder in a campaign?
No. No. I think people know that when I got elected, and have known for some time, that I've been very fortunate in my life, and if they want to use something like that in the campaign, I don't know. But I'm not, right now I'm focused on running for re-election as governor. That's the only thing I'm focused on politically, and of course, most importantly in my job as governor today, protecting the people of Illinois from the unlawful acts of Stephen Miller and Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, and Gregory Bovino. Paris.
Governor, can you just explain a little more the circumstance of that $1.4 million? Those are big winnings.
Yeah.
It's a high roller table.
No,
were you gambling with millions of dollars?
I obviously, and I've explained this, or at least we did in a statement, that I went on vacation with my wife, with some friends. I was incredibly lucky. You have to be to end up ahead, frankly, going to a casino anywhere. It was in Las Vegas, and I like to play cards, and so that I founded a charitable poker match here in Chicago called the Chicago Poker Challenge that has raised millions of dollars for the Holocaust Museum here. And particularly to stand up for civil rights. That's much of what the Holocaust Museum does. And so, anyway, that's all I can say about it. I mean, I had fun doing it. I encourage people to come to the state of Illinois and gamble in our casinos here. We have some really lovely places to go.
Governor, I just want to clarify.
Yeah, Olivia and then Mitch.
Thank you. The number that was reported, can you say how much you have lost gambling?
I believe that's a net number. So yeah, but I mean it was all, you know, it all happened over one trip, and again it was just, I mean, incredibly lucky. And as you know, most of the time anybody who's been to a casino, you win, and you know, all of anybody who's played cards in a casino knows that you know, you often play for too long and lose whatever it is that you've won. I was fortunate enough to have to leave before that happened. So
What was the final hand that made you?
oh, I don't remember. Thank you, Mitch.
Governor, the president is publicly flirting with invoking the Insurrection Act to deploy guard. How concerned are you about that, and how would that affect the state's legal challenge?
Well, I believe it to be unlawful and unconstitutional. There is not a rebellion going on. It's called the Insurrection Act for a reason. There is not an insurrection going on in Chicago. And you've heard him move around his reasons for calling in the National Guard. Think about his first discussion was crime is rampant, Portland is on fire. You know, he exaggerates everything tremendously, and then and said that was the reason. And then, of course, I think there were a few people, must have been in the White House, who told him, actually, you can't call in the National Guard for that reason, but possibly you can call in federal troops and National Guard to protect federal facilities. And so, what do you know, when they were challenged, that was the reason that they gave for calling in the National Guard. Those facilities are not under threat. There is no need to call in the National Guard. We have local law enforcement, state law enforcement, ICE and CBP are, you know, clearly capable of protecting their assets. And so I'm concerned, of course, that it doesn't seem like the President of the United States cares much about the Constitution or the laws of the country. He's broken them, 34 times. He's been a convicted felon. So he doesn't much care about the law. So yeah, I am concerned that he will just ignore the law and try to enact the Insurrection Act and use his people, who seem to be sycophants to the end, to defend him as he's carrying out unlawful acts. Yeah, sorry, I think Sarah in the back.
Kind of a follow-up to that.
Yep.
On Tuesday, as you know, on the southeast side, ICE agents deployed pepper spray after people threw eggs and rocks. So do you think that type of scene and chaos just gives the president, you know, for the lack of a better word, more ammunition to call to invoke the Insurrection Act?
Look, anybody who's protesting and not doing so peacefully and is committing a crime in doing so shouldn't be, should be held accountable for their acts. But, and that you saw this in the decision of a judge this morning in her TRO case, that she's seen all the reports, as all of us have. They take one small circumstance and they blow it up into as if this is all of Chicago or it's happening everywhere. We have so many peaceful protesters and so many places that people are protesting peacefully in neighborhoods. You're going to see it on Saturday in Grant Park. And so the idea that there's any justification for people, tossing tear gas in the context of people's protests, I think the judge reacted to that properly by ordering that now the federal agents are required to have body cameras on them, because they clearly lie about what goes on. You saw this in the case of Silverio, who was killed in Franklin Park. You saw this in the case of the woman who was shot in her car. They put out a press release immediately at Homeland Security that doesn't reflect the truth. And it's hard for us to know right away what the truth is. So it takes us a couple of days. Often it's some of you in the reporter community and the media that discover what the truth is and talk to people who are on the ground. And then what do you know? It turns out they've been lying all along. So I'm glad that the judge is stepping up, doing the right thing. I think we're going to see more cases brought against ICE and CBP. And of course, we're going to continue our effort to keep the military off of the streets of Chicago and across America. Thank you. Oh,
One more in the back.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yes.
Nothing to do with Vegas. I'm talking about Los Angeles. We saw Los Angeles County issue a state of emergency in an effort to combat these federal immigration raids. Can you speak to whether we can see that here in Illinois? I know it's typically
Yeah, listen, we would listen to the local leaders in Chicago. I want to remind everybody what ICE and CBP are doing and what they're planning to do if they can bring the federalized troops onto the streets is not just in the city of Chicago. And people keep talking about Chicago, and I know it's easy to just say Chicago and not include all the suburbs and surrounding areas, but this is it's a vast region, at least 6 million people, in and around Chicago, not just in the city of Chicago. And people are being affected at this. You saw the Waukegan City Hall, where a young woman came out. She was doing no harm to anybody, U.S. citizen. She's brown-skinned. She was trying to get in her car, and she was detained, arrested, taken, put in the back of a car. This is what's happening all across the region, and it's deeply concerning to me. We talk about just Chicago, but it's really happening everywhere around the region. But I think you saw the city of Broadview mayor asked for help, and we delivered it from state police and from Cook County Sheriff's Office.
No plans for a state of emergency.
We don't see a need for that here, and I'm not sure what the circumstances were that caused it in Los Angeles, whether it was the city or the county there. But obviously, we listen to local leaders and local law enforcement and back them up when they need our assistance. So, thank you.
Everybody.